Welcome back to TDPHINSTALK, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. We are live here on this beautiful Wednesday night. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say this. We got a great show lined up for you all. Make sure you hit that like button on your way in the building. Shout out to the Believe Podcast Network. Shout out to Miami Sports Music as well. DWA in the house. Shout out to the Mod Squad. I see you, Chef Jew, Andres Negron. What's going on, man? Last name Bird01, Scott Jackson, True Fins, Vic. I see all y'all here, man. Thank y'all for rocking with us. Please hit that like button. Let your friends and family members know about the channel. Make sure you check me out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Sportscaster, all of the platforms, Twitch, everywhere. We're coming up on 2,000 Twitter followers. So if you're not following me on Twitter, let's pump that up, y'all. Let's pump it up. Haven't been live for a few days. No biggie. Listen, the family haven't been at the top of their game from health standpoint. You know, my little one isn't feeling very well. So we've been trying to nurse him back to health, y'all. But I am back. I couldn't wait. But, you know, I let some things simmer down. I let everybody get down off of their feelings. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about the fact that the draft is over, the fan response, what my response is. We're going to talk about the draft grades, what we did and why we did it. You know, we're going to talk about each of the 7 draft picks that we selected. We're going to do a video later on this week about the undrafted free agents. And we also want to talk about some of the slide moves that the Miami Dolphins made over the last few days and in the draft that sets us up beautifully for the future. So get ready for this, ladies and gentlemen. Again, make sure you punch that like button. Let your friends and family members know about the channel as well. We're doing some big things, y'all. All right. Well, now, without further ado, we want to hop right in. We want to get to talking Miami Dolphins football, okay? We want to get to talking Miami Dolphins football. Why? Because it's simple. We're building a winner, ladies and gentlemen. Now, one thing that really confused me over the first 2 days of the draft, and I guess I shouldn't use the word confused because this is pretty typical for Miami Dolphins fan base. We had a lot of negative reception in regards to our draft picks, and it kind of blew me away. You know, if you watch this channel, at all, you know exactly why the Miami Dolphins made the moves that they made. If you don't watch the channel, well, I understand it's warranted. You know, you're hearing this, you're hearing that. One thing I'll tell you about this channel is we're not fanboys, okay? We're not fanboys where we have specific players that we love so much that is them over anything, regardless, even if they're bad, even if they're good, even if they're in the middle. That's not what we do it over here. Okay. What we do is we analyze the team, we analyze players, and we're fair. We call the balls and strikes. We call it how it is. We call it what it is. And that's why you'll pretty much get straightforward information. Okay. And that's how I like it. You know why? That way, you get out of your feelings. You get out of your feelings. There was a time where I used to be in my feelings. And anyone who knows me long enough, it was the Ryan Tannehill era. I was that Dolphin fan just in his feelings, just defending the indefendable, just going back and forth, making excuses. And it got us nowhere. It got us nowhere. It got us sitting home and never making the playoffs. And I learned from that. And what we try to encourage people to do over on this channel that come with a different perspective, we try to encourage them to learn from their fanboyhood. We try to get them to understand that the team is greater than any player. What we're doing as an overall team to build a Super Bowl winning or a contending team every year is bigger than any individual player. So with that being said, I have a few things I want to say. The draft is over and the fan response was negative. And not the entire fan base, but there was a large group of the fan base that was very negative about this draft. They had their reasons, and I listened to them all, And when we talk about these individual players, I'm going to bring up some of those reasons, and I'm going to talk about them, whether they're valid or not. But the reality is what I found as a conclusion through all of it is that people got so invested in mock drafts, which is sad. That's why I did one or two and then I called it a quits. I'm not going to bore you in the offseason with mock drafts when none of the picks, like literally everybody has legitimately a 1% success ratio on picking one player right on their entire mock. Do y'all know that? Do you know that every person that does a mock draft for the Miami Dolphins, they average about a 1% correct pick. And that's just one pick out of all the picks. 1% of every pick is good. Like people do mock drafts and we didn't get not one of the people on the mock draft. Not one, ladies and gentlemen. And that's how it works every year. That's why I don't bore you all with mock drafts. It's just delusional fantasies that we would love to see lived out that rarely actually get lived out. And what happens when you fall in love with your perfect mock? Like, what if we were like people would send me mocks and I had the same response to everybody? Yeah, that would be perfect. I'm for it. That's all I could reply. Yeah, that's a nice mock. I'm all for it. And they reply, let's see what the Dolphins do. Yeah, let's see what they do. 99% of the time, it's not going to be that beautiful picture that you painted. With all the best players, like there's only one team in the NFL that can get them. There's 32 teams. The likelihood of pulling off what you want to pull off is slim to none. And what it does, it leaves a whole bunch of people in their feelings when they're mock draft, they get none of them right. And that's what we saw a case of, ladies and gentlemen, the mock blues on draft day. Instead of looking at the beauty of what we did, we went to the negative of how we didn't get what every individual would have wanted to get. Shout out to Andres with the donation, said, what you mean, TD? I mocked Trevor to Jacksonville. That was a good one. And that's the only that was actually a good one. If you're in the top 5, you're going to have some level of success in your mocks. Okay, I'll give you that one. All right? Trevor Jacksonville, you're all Nostradamuses, okay? But outside of the top 5, listen, nobody gets them right. I was shocked that I picked Jaelan Phillips, and I picked him, but I didn't believe we would get him because I thought he'd be gone. All right. Now, let's move on from the fans' response, because what matters on this show, unfortunately, and I say this humbly, maybe, the only thing that matters is my response right now. And my response to our draft is that the Miami Dolphins nailed it, ladies and gentlemen. I personally believe that they could not have done any better in this draft. Now, I know a lot of people are going to have a lot of opinions about that. Are you kidding me, TD? They could have had Nice. Well, they could have had this. They could have had that. They could have had that. They could have had this. But I'm about to break it down for you all. Okay? And Ronnie said, what I saw was players that fit Flores schemes. Let's talk about it, Ronnie. Let's talk about it, Ronnie. Because you're spot on. Players that fit Flores' scheme and what we're trying to do as a team here in Miami, and not just the luxury pick because everybody says it is. Not just the luxury pick because everyone says that it is. Oh, it's about to get real, ladies and gentlemen. Did you see what the national media did? Now, I was shocked out of my brain. Like I expected the national media to try to be negative and go against us. But y'all tell me in the comment section, was the national media positive about the Miami Dolphins draft or negative about it? And we saying national media, not these beat writers who had their personal players they wanted that we didn't get. I was shocked that the nation was like, the Miami Dolphins won this draft hands down. Like every single platform I turned to, ESPN, did you see what the Dolphins did? I think they won this draft hands down. I think they got away with the most value and the most steals out there. I think they literally won. And I'm like, hold on. This never happens. We usually say we won it. They say we lost it. Then when we look around, yeah, we did lose it. When it's all said and done. And for the first time in like forever, they say that the Miami Dolphins won a draft. Like we're top 3 on everybody's board of winning the draft, at least in the top 3 in the whole nation on everyone. Are you kidding me? Is the view of the Miami Dolphins and the perception, has Brian Flores and Chris Grier changed it positively that much to where even the national media couldn't find something to hate on? Because we're a punching bag. We are a punching bag. We've been a punching bag for years. And you mean to tell me the national media couldn't just come up with something and to say, I can't believe they didn't get Smith and I can't believe they got Phillips and what was the Holland pick at 36? Like they couldn't even muster that up. And them themselves came up with compelling reasons of why the Miami Dolphins won this draft. I just thought that I woke up in a fantasy world. But you can never have it perfect. You finally get the national media to feel like we won something, and our fan base, most of our fan base turns against it and say, nah, no way possible we won it. I can't believe we did what we did. Well, ladies and gentlemen, stop. What you are about to witness with the Miami Dolphins is greatness. You're about to witness greatness, and I truly do believe it. And I can have my, when you put your fanboy hat on and you want to just be positive, you know what? I've searched the last 2 days, I've even talked to a few people, and you're going to hear their opinions over the next few days or weeks, who have had negative thoughts of it. And then when I sit down and I break it down, I just say, no, what they're saying is irrelevant. It's not even valid. What we did was so beautiful for the future of this franchise, and nobody's going to recognize it now. The thing that I've learned with the Miami Dolphins, this is what I've learned. The moves that no one raves about are always the best ones. And the ones we rave about, we sit there and we're like, oh my gosh, that didn't work out. They screwed that up. But yet we raved about it. Where's the accountability even with the fan base? We cheer on a great, powerful move, and then whenever it becomes a bust, we're like, oh, why did they messed up on that move? But we cheered it. And then we boo a move, and then next it ends up garnishing us just so much fruit. And we don't go back and say, oh, boy, was I wrong. How many people, be honest, how many people were mad that we traded Laramie Thompson and thought that it was the most idiotic move that you could possibly make? Go ahead, put your hands up in the comment section, say me. Put your me's in the comment section. Be honest. Let's see if we can have a truth session, an honest session. How many people said that the Miami Dolphins were idiots for trading Laremy Tunsil, and it's going to come back to bite them and haunt them in the long run? Go ahead and put your me's. Be honest. There's nothing wrong with it, because you have every reason to have felt that way, especially given the past that we had endured. Thank y'all for being honest. Look at all the honesty. Thank you. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you. But there was a bigger plan at works that we weren't paying attention to. Because the reality is, I can tell every single one of you all, you were in the moment. You were in the moment. And I get it. Aiden said we kept Baker. Let's go. Told you Baker over Parsons. Hey, Aiden, I concede. I concede to that. And nothing's wrong with that. Baker over Parsons, because that's what it's going to be. Now we need Baker to legitimately be over Parsons. Better than that Cowboy Parsons. But back to the subject of, we were stuck in the moment. I mean, if you really think of it, back then, Laremy Tunsil was the best player on our entire roster. He was like the cream of the crop, like the only guy that we can call like the best guy. And we traded him. And a lot of people laughed at us. And now today, all the riches and the spoils, and we're still flipping. We are still flipping Laremy Tunsil picks. See, when we pick in 2023, people aren't going to remember those are Laremy Tunsil picks. They're going to think, oh, that was from a trade back in 2021 draft. You know, we picked that up. No, that's all Laremy Tunsil. Laremy Tunsil is dragging us into 2023 with assets now. Like literally, I think we've garnished about 5 first-round picks out of Laremy Tunsil when it's all said and done. And we traded one back, you know, just to move up to 6. But it was 5. We found a way to get 5 first-round picks and a little sprinklers out there. You know, the third that we just picked up, and the 2 seconds and a 5th. Like, oh my gosh, it's like Laremy Tunsil was worth 5 1s, 2 seconds, a 3rd, and a 5th. Like all of that was combined in one way or another, all garnished from one player. We were in our feelings. We were in the moment. We got to stop picking and choosing when we want to trust the process. That's all I'm going to say on that, because I want to move on, okay? So everybody's on TV, and I haven't seen a draft grade lower than an A. Worst draft grade we've gotten was an A-, because they're loving the pick. And I want to talk about each of these picks, and I want to talk about what we did and why we did it, okay? So I want y'all to bear with me. You know, I got my thoughts together. I wrote them down today. That way I can have a real productive show and keep it moving and give you all my take on this draft. So here we are. Everyone's, you know, a little concerned. You know, we want Kyle Pitts. I wanted Kyle Pitts. But if you notice in my tone, listen, I want Kyle Pitts. If we can get Kyle Pitts, man, I'm all for it. I was a Kyle Pitts guy. And I wanted him, period. But I knew if we didn't get Kyle Pitts, we were still in a great place. Everybody's bummed at the fact that we had the number 3 pick and we could have just got Kyle Pitts, but instead we got Jalen Waddle at number 6. We got Jalen Waddle at number 6. Now, once again, thinking too far ahead, all I'm going to say to some of you all, remember this 2 years from now when we have that 2023 first round pick. It's going to be very interesting what we use that pick on, who we use it on, or what trade we use it for. Just remember that. I'm not going to get into detail of what I think, but just remember that pick. And when you know TD's going to remember, we're going to come back to the table. We're going to say, did you want Kyle Pitts or did you want Waddle? And whatever happened with that pick, then we'll talk about it. Okay? And right now, we don't know. But at the end of the day, what we do know is we got a dynamic playmaker. Jalen Waddle isn't a scrub. He's a guy who can line up all over the field, whether it be inside, outside. He can catch the 50-50 ball. We talking about a next level speed, 4.37. Come on, it doesn't get any better than that. A huge game influencer. Can Kyle Pitts do the same? Absolutely. But I knew if we didn't get Kyle Pitts, we were still going to get a winner. And we got Jalen Waddle. Why did we get Jalen Waddle? Familiarity with Tua. The biggest reason why we got Jalen Waddle is because he helps us out in the run game. Waddle and Fuller were brought in so that teams can no longer load the box. He's also a dual threat at the wide receiver position, and he returns punts. Grant, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but we'll talk about it. Everyone knows last year he had a season-ending ankle injury, and he wasn't supposed to play anymore. But guess what the young man said? He said, no way. I'll be back for the championship. Why would he fight to come back for a championship when his season was over? It's simple, because he loves the game. And Greer said that was a huge factor. We need people who love the game. And he came back and he contributed. This kid is talented and dynamic. But once again, we can't get we can't get caught in the moment of, yay, we got Waddle. We can't get caught in the moment of the joy of getting Waddle. We have to look long term when it comes to every pick that we made. Let's look long term. Long term, number one, Devontae Parker. How sold are you on Devontae Parker's future with the Miami Dolphins on a scale of 1 to 10? Let me know, ladies and gentlemen. Put it in the comment section. How sold are you on Devontae Parker's future with this organization on a scale of 1 to 10? Let's keep it 1,000. While you're answering, I'm going to read the donations. Aiden said, and you have to remember, we got Hunter Long. Happy. Yes, I'll get there. I'll get there. Don't worry. Let me see here. Look at all of those numbers. It look like we got an average of 5. The reality is Devontae Parker is going to count $12 million versus the cap this year with a dead cap of $16 million. He's going to be on the roster. But after this year, ladies and gentlemen, he's going to count for $9 million with the dead cap of 5.5. So they'll have a huge decision to make with Devontae Parker next year as well. He could save us money if we need it. A good $3.5 million. And I like to see him stay on the roster. And then the year after that, he'll count another $9 million with a dead cap of 2.7. And if the Miami Dolphins want to get off of Parker, I believe that time will come in 2023. 2023. When we can save $6.3 million. And that's if they want to get off of him, because his age will be creeping up. But we got to usher in our future now. Insert Waddle. What about Will Fuller? The high-flying Will Fuller, who's very talented, but, he's already suspended for the first game this year, which means Waddle is probably going to be on the field a lot even in the first game. But even with that being said, he's only under contract for 1 year, ladies and gentlemen. I believe what the Miami Dolphins are looking to do with Will Fuller is about 8 to 9 games into the season, if he is balling out in every bit of what they want him to be, they're going to go ahead and ink him on a big deal extension right away. They're going to ink him on a big deal extension right away, because it's beautiful how they did his contract. It's only worth about $1 million in base salary, and all the other signing bonus and incentives make up for the additional 11 or 12. So if they did extend him in the middle of the season, they might even be able to push some of that in the current year for base salary and add more dead cap, because they're going to figure to keep him long term. Not sure, but that's an option for the Dolphins. but he's only under contract for 1 year. We can't guarantee it. Or what if he's having such a great year that he says, you know what? I'm okay, Dolphins. I just want to try free agency, see what I can garnish out there. Not only that, his contract is full of incentives. So this might be the year that he literally balls out. Let me tell you why. The Miami Dolphins gave him $3 million in incentives if he reaches them. If he gets 9 or more touchdowns, he gets $1 million bonus. If he gets 880 yards on the season, he gets $250,000 bonus. If that number goes up to 1,000 yards this year, he gets a $500,000 bonus. If it goes to 1,100, it's a $750,000 bonus. If it goes to 1,250, it's a $1 million bonus. Oh, he wants the ball this year. Trust me. 54 receptions is going to get him $300,000. 63 receptions will get him $650,000, and 70 receptions will get him another cool $1 million. He is going to ball this year because everything is, listen, he's going to work his hardest this year, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because $3 million are sitting right there on the board. And if he reaches all 3 of those incentives, oh, he's going to be one of the highest paid free agents next year. Now the Dolphins have a decision to make. Do we give him an extension and try to get it as best as we can before the season ends? Or do we let him hit the market and go into a bidding war? We'll probably lose. Even though we're going to have some money next year. We'll talk about that in another stream. But that's what it comes down to. So Will Fuller isn't under contract next year. Then you got Preston Williams, who's been in this league for 2 years. This will be his 3rd, but he got injured both years. Making less than $1 million, $850,000. He's not even a threat to these guys. We're hoping that he turns the corner and stays healthy. We don't know. We don't know what that's going to turn out to be. But it's a wild card. Nothing reliable. So far, the only thing we got reliable is Devontae Parker for a long-term solution. That's it. Then you got Albert Wilson, who, according to what I see, actually did restructure his contract, something that nobody's talked about. But based off of what I saw today, the numbers are different. He restructured his contract, and it's going to be a 2-year deal instead of that 1 year left. And this year, he has a cap hit of $5.2 million. And if we cut him this summer, then we only have a dead cap of 2.3. But that's going to bring us savings of about $3 million, almost 2.9. He's not long-term. He's 28 years old. We don't have a receiver. All we have is Devontae Parker, and we're hoping he can get to 1,000-yard form receiving. Will Fuller isn't even under contract long-term. Then you got Jakeem Grant, another player. His dead cap wouldn't hit us if we let him go now. Every year we'd save over $3 million. This year we'd save 3. Next year we'd save 3.7. The year after that we'd save 4.5 million. He's a cap casualty. That's a huge potential. Especially given the fact that we just brought in 2 guys who can do his job in the returning area. And that's Javon Holland and Jalen Waddle. Both return kicks. So Jakeem Grant is going to have his best camp performance just to even be considered to stay on his roster. I couldn't see it any other way. It wouldn't make any other sense. And lastly, you got Allen Hurns. This is the one that's ridiculous to me because he's a $2.9 million cap hit this year. But if you let him go, you have a dead cap of 3.4. His dead cap is higher than his yearly this year. So he either has a roster spot or they're going to eat some money just to eat it. So he has to be feeling good because even if he gets cut, he gets paid more than he gets cut. He gets paid. And next year he has a $3.6 million cap hit and a $400,000 dead cap. And that's when they can easily get out of it. Unless they decide to get out right away. But they'll just be eating money, letting the player go and getting nothing for it. But that's their choice. We'll see. But I say all that to say this. We don't have a wide receiver of the future now when you really look at it. At first, I was like, we got receivers. We can compete now. This isn't the biggest need. But they're going to do everything they can to make sure that Tua has the greatest success he possibly can this year. And we need that. And let's continue. I'm going to read some donations and then we're going to continue because we got some more things to cover. I want teams would have 2-game plan. I wanted Pitts, but Waddle has number 2. He has be accounted for. Imagine Waddle and Grant running kicks. Yeah, but most teams say you only need one back there. They don't need both. Arca with the donation said taking Javon Holland is going to make this draft successful, even if the others are hot garbage. Oh, we're gonna talk about that because he's coming up soon. Roach said off topic, Tebow is back. Oh Lord. Yeah, we'll get into that another time. And that's funny. Tebow, Timmy T. Noel Leon once said Watson leaves. What you offering Houston? All those first and one player. That's just the reality. I'm just being honest. All right. Let's move on. So then we go to number 18, and everybody is out here like, here's Najee. Here's Najee. The Dolphins are about to get Najee Harris. Now, y'all let me know in the comment section. Was Najee Harris still on the board at 18? Let me know in the comment section, please. Let me know in the comment section. Was Najee Harris still on the board at 18? Please let me know. Of course, I know the answer. Of course. And everybody else knows. Yes, he was. So I ask everyone, was Najee Harris the target? Yes or no in the comment section. I have been sitting here preaching for 2 months now. You do not get a running back in the first round. It is not that big of a deal. Okay. Why was I preaching that? Because for 4 months now, I have been screaming to the top of my lungs. People need to stop with this running back obsession with the Miami Dolphins. We don't need a top premier back on our team. Flores and Greer, Patriot way, do it by committee, team effort. If you look at what the real issue was with the Miami Dolphins in the run game, number one, the offensive line did not do a good job in run blocking in heavy sets. And number two, every team we played loaded the box. They didn't have to worry about the throw as much unless Fitzpatrick was playing. They weren't scared of the throw. They weren't concerned about the throw. We didn't have enough deep threats, whether it be our starters and injury last year. It didn't matter. We had a whole bunch of 50-50 guys. Guys that weren't burning guys getting the biggest separation alive, but they were 50-50 guys. And that didn't matter. Okay, if you catch your 50-50 ball, you're going to do that with the good run game or not. It's a 50-50 guy. Teams could load the box and do as they wanted. They could send the extra blitz on the quarterback. They could sniff out the run. It didn't matter. They could just load the box. Miami did not covet a running back like y'all think. They don't feel the same way as many of you all think. You just look at, well, we need to run the ball better to help Tua out. I'm telling y'all, it didn't matter who he really had back there. When you load the box, it's still going to be a harder day for him. Derrick Henry, Baltimore, loaded the box against him. He had a trash playoff game. Even Derrick Henry. Many of us have the wrong philosophy on running backs. And most of the great running backs in this league legitimately have an excellent line that they're running behind. These guys aren't Dickerson or nothing like that where it doesn't matter. These guys still need a great line behind them. Now, don't get me wrong. There are literally some legitimate running backs that can help the O-line, even if the O-line is suffering, can do it. But you don't know if any of these guys are going to be that. You don't know what Etienne, Najee or Williams or any of those guys would be. You don't know. That's the truth. You need a good line. So the Miami Dolphins sat there and looked at Najee on the board and said, Jaelan Phillips, ladies and gentlemen. Jaelan Phillips was their guy that they were targeting. They were shocked that he slid so low. They did not believe that he would slide so low. Let me even tell you let me give you a little nugget here. The Denver Broncos tried to trade up and steal Jaelan Phillips. Did you know that? But they didn't have enough assets to move up. They had already made their Patrick Surtain pick with the number 9 overall, and they tried to take their second round pick and put it with something else and get right ahead of Miami. They have admitted this, but they did, per GM George Patton, he didn't have enough to move up. He didn't have enough to move up. He was trying to come take Jaelan Phillips, didn't have enough to move up. In Miami, he was still on the board, snatched him up. I don't even need to say much about Jaelan Phillips. This kid is just special. And in a 3-4, the way we run it, he's going to be a beast. That's the way he played it in college. He was that edge wheel linebacker that made plays, can get in that backfield, tackles for losses, put the pressure on the quarterback, athleticism, switches direction. He's your prototypical guy that Flores needs, that they couldn't get in Shaq Lawson, that Van Noy couldn't live up to anymore. He's the one that they needed. And sure enough, he slid right there in their lap, and they said, ain't no way I'm not taking this kid. And everybody talk about concussions. That was overblown. When I really did my research, it wasn't even as crazy as people made it to seem. There were other injury concerns, but he had a concussion. He retired from football, and very shortly after, he re-enlisted and entered the transfer portal. And the real reason he sat out 2019, I didn't know this. It wasn't because of the concussions. It was because it was a requirement of the transfer portal. The time in which he transferred, he was required to sit out the full season. Otherwise, he'd already been playing for Miami. He entered the transfer portal, and the transfer portal rules made him sit out that year. And then he comes in the very next year in 2020 and sets it on fire, man. Now, here's a little kicker. Denver tried to trade up from 40 to 35. No, they traded up from 40 to 35 to draft Javonte Williams. Now, why do I bring that up? Here's why I bring it up. They did it right before Miami. But the reason why I brought it up is because they thought that they got one in over us, but I'm going to talk about that in a second when I talk about Javon Holland at number 36. But to finish off Jaelan Phillips, it's going to be Ogba and Phillips now. And the reality is we really don't even have anyone there at those positions because even Ogba isn't under contract after next year. It's another player that Miami has to make a decision on. Now, Phillips is here to replace Kyle Van Noy and Shaq Lawson. Now, the beautiful part about it is he's going to compete with Andrew Van Ginkel, who is still on his rookie deal, making less than $1 million. He's going to be in year 3, and he's making $850,000 right now. And that means he has a huge opportunity to actually start at the position over Van Ginkel. But his role will be what he makes of it, as Flores said, and I think this kid is going to start. He also is going to be competing with Vince Beagle, who's on a 1-year contract for $1 million, basically. Now, if you don't remember Vince Beagle, remember in 2019, we traded for Beagle. I don't know if some of y'all remember that. Was it Beagle? Make sure I got that right. Let's see. Yeah, it was Vince Beagle. We traded with the Saints, if I'm not mistaken. It was Kiko Alonso. I believe, yes, it was the Kiko Alonso trade. We traded Kiko Alonso for Vince Beagle, and it was a low-key move. Nobody paid attention to. And he was expected to come in and be that guy. Now, don't forget, in 2019, he was that guy. He was the most effective pass rusher that we had on the roster with 13 quarterback hits. He led the team. 2.5 sacks, if I'm not mistaken. Tackles for loss. He was explosive, but unfortunately, 2020, we wanted him to break out, but he had the injury, season-ending injury. He had the season-ending injury in camp, by the way. And now we're stuck in a situation we don't know what we're going to get from him when he comes back. Van Ginkel's still there, but, Van Ginkel isn't the guy who I don't think he's the guy they feel like is the future. Like he's going to be a good guy they want to keep on this roster for the next 6 years if they can, to be a valuable backup in the event of an injury where he can play and still give you quality production. And that's why you go get Jaelan Phillips. I don't even know why there was a debate about the Jaelan Phillips move. This was a no-brainer. You got the best pass rusher on the board in this year's draft. Nobody should have been complaining about that, but yet people still did. Why? Because we didn't get Najee Harris. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, we got to do better. We have to do better. Let's move right along. And by the way, Jaelan Phillips, it's all about the U, baby. We got to move on, all right? Now, Javon Holland was the wild card. This was the one that actually made a lot of people upset. And it's interesting to me why it made him upset. Because a lot of people thought that this is where the Miami Dolphins will get Javonte Williams, the running back, since they missed out on the first 2 running backs. And I'm here to tell y'all they didn't miss out on the first 2 running backs. They didn't care. They didn't want any of them. I don't know how many ways they were on the board and they could have got them at 18. They didn't want them. So they didn't miss out if they didn't want them. If they wanted them, they would have got them at 18. Now, when I say they didn't want them, hey, if they would have slid down to number 50 or something like that, maybe they would have got them. But at 18 and 36, they already had the players they wanted. Now, this was the interesting one because Javon Holland was the one that most people complain about, but it's also the pick that the national media raves about the most. They rave about the Javon Holland pick more than they do with the Jaelan Phillips and the Jalen Waddle pick. Not that Holland is a higher prospect than those two, but they feel like Miami got a steal with this guy. The national media, they feel like this was the underrated low-key pick that puts Miami above everyone else. But a lot of people didn't understand why. Some people don't even know who he is. Some people don't even know who he is. So I understand why they didn't understand why. Now, was the number 36 pick supposed to be Javonte Williams and Denver came in and stole him? I'm here to tell y'all that's all peanuts, man. It's crap. No. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying the rumors, Miami was trying to get Javonte Williams at 36, but Denver came in and swooped in and got him. Do you know where that information is coming from, y'all? Let me tell you where the information is coming from. When you do your research, you'll see that Denver stated that they heard from a little birdie that Miami was trying to get a running back at 36. So they moved up and got Javonte Williams at 36. And then after they got Javonte Williams at 36, a AFC East, let me say that again, an AFC East rival to the Miami Dolphins texted the general manager of Denver and said, congratulations in ruining the Miami Dolphins plan. A rival told him that. You know why they told him that? Because everybody and their mama felt like we were going to get a running back. We did extensive work on all the running backs, but what they don't know is we did extensive research on the top 5 players in every position in this draft. So Denver can think that that's who we were going to get all they want, because it's so funny that as soon as they picked Javonte Williams, the Miami Dolphins pick was in right away. As soon as they picked Javonte Williams, the pick was in. Miami didn't let the clock go down a second. As soon as Javonte Williams, they were showing the player profile, you saw a pick is in for Miami Dolphins at the bottom of the screen. They already knew who they wanted. All these people trying to justify, oh, we were going to get Javonte there and he got stolen. And now I see all these articles. Miami will never admit, but it is rumored to believe they were trying to get Javonte Williams. No, you're trying to sell stories. Just because all the fan base thought that we were going to get him because we, quote unquote, missed out on the running backs in day one. But how can you miss out on someone who was on the board and you ain't pick them? See, that's the number one flaw in these stories. How can you miss out on a player who was on the board when you had your pick and you ain't pick them? You didn't miss out. You didn't want them. They weren't that much of a priority. And you knew you were going to get Javon Holland at 36 if he was still available. So I'm not buying this crap. Oh, the Miami Dolphins, they were going to get Javonte Williams. That was the leftovers from what everybody else wanted. And they just, well, Javonte's left. You see how that works? Everybody wants Najee. And then, well, Etienne's still there. Then he goes, oh, Javonte, they go get Javonte. But yeah, you're arguing for 2 months about, man, don't get no Javonte. Y'all need to get Najee. Javonte ain't half the player Najee. All this stuff. All that stuff. But if it makes you feel better that we that's funny. If it makes you feel better to think that we were going to get Javonte Williams, more power to you. More power to you. Because Javon Holland, why was this a smart move? This is a no-brainer to me. He doesn't just play safety, ladies and gentlemen. He plays safety and corner. There's a reason why they got Noah last year. And it hasn't worked out yet. So now they bring in a safety and a corner. This guy plays both positions and plays both well. Why would we get a safety? No, we got a safety and a corner. Understand that. Everybody wants to let the corner part fly under the radar. No, it's not going to fly under the radar. They got a player who plays two positions in the secondary, and there is no better value, especially given the fact of our current situation in the secondary. Not only that, if you don't know nothing about Javon Holland, this kid is special in the run game. Special. Bobby McCain, Eric Rowe, none of our corners will come down in the box like he will and get physical. Not a single corner nor safety on our roster right now will come down in the box and be as physical as he will and come after you and not wait on you. Not a single guy is coming in the box like this kid is going to be coming in the box. He also returns punt, dual threat. Shaquem Grant. He can guard the tight end position, the running backs, and be sitting on blitzes. And I'm going to be honest, somebody just put it in the comment section, but he does remind me of Rashad Jones. He really does. In the last 2 years in school, he had 9 interceptions. Now, when you look at our secondary, ladies and gentlemen, Bobby McCain listen, they're either going to keep on kicking this can down the road or they're going to move off because Bobby McCain has the most friendly contract to the Miami Dolphins. He stands to make $7.1 million this year, but if they move on from him, it's only a $1.5 million dead cap. They can literally save $5.6 million on Bobby McCain. And say they did want to keep Bobby McCain this year, which I hope they do at least one more year. But next year, Bobby got to go. He makes $7.7 million and only got a $740,000 dead cap. You'd save $7 million, and that's what they've done. They got Brandon Jones ready to move into Eric Rowe's position, and they got Javon Holland ready to move into Bobby McCain's position. Even Eric Rowe's contract is like this, y'all. $6 million this year, only $1 million dead cap. Save $5 million if we moved on. Next year, he's $5 million with the $500,000 dead cap. Save $4.5 million. Next year alone, they can save $11.5 million by replacing Bobby McCain and Eric Rowe with Jones and Javon Holland. There go another $11 million. Bam, easy money. $11.5 million extra by moving on from those two. Next year, you can keep them this year. Let these young fellas keep developing under them if you want. But you see how we're setting up for the future? That's why you selected Javon Holland. Not another running back that come dime a dozen, and if the O-line sucks, they ain't going to do good anyway. And if the O-line is legit, all of them going to eat. That's why you went and got this kid at 36, because he's the future. Then you got all these other projects, Jamal Perry, Nate Holley, Brian Cole, Clayton Fledglam. Them your backups, but you already brought in your future. Now they can get a few reps. And if somebody get hurt, you feel good. And you can move on for the future and save some money and start rotating. This is how you win the game, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you build the dynasty. The replacement is on the roster at the same time. Predecessor. This is how you win the game. And I agree, Bootsy Boo. He is a corner. He is a slot corner too. He does it all. And that's why they went and got him. They ain't buying we were going to get Javonte and they stole him. Okay, keep believing that. But if it makes you feel better, does it matter? On to the next one, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Y'all hit that like button. We got 500 people watching. Please punch that like button. Show your love and support. The more likes we get, the more people come on the stream. We got a donation said we're going to have to make some really tough cuts this off season. And it sucks because some guys I really like are going to have to go. I agree. But when I do our depth chart video, we'll break all that down. When I do the depth chart video, we'll break all that down. I got to do the undrafted free agents first before I do the depth chart video. All right. And the Lions are releasing former second-round pick running back Kerryon Johnson, just so y'all know. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami didn't bring him in to compete. See, this is how it works, ladies and gentlemen. This is how it works. All right, let's keep it moving because I don't have that much time. We got the AFC East roundtable tonight on Master at Works channel. So we got to go on over there tonight at 9:30. So y'all get ready for that. Anywho, let me verify the time because I'll be getting it all mixed up. You know, I got to make sure. I don't want to be the latest one. Let's see. Let me see the time. Yeah, give me 1 second. Just want to verify, make sure we're good. All right, 9:30. Yeah, we're good. All right, moving forward. Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss anyone's donation. All right, we're good. All right. Now, at number 42, this is my favorite pick, ladies and gentlemen. Number 42 is my favorite pick. All right. Liam Eichenberg. This was my favorite pick. Now, a lot of people were mad that we didn't get JOK. If you don't know who JOK is, he was a higher rated prospect, Jeremiah Owosu Karamore. All right. If that's how you pronounce it. He was a higher prospect, and a lot of people were wondering why we didn't pick him up when he was still on the board. Now, he was slated to definitely be a first-round pick. It was a given that he was going to be a first-round pick. Now, he didn't go until 52 to the Browns. He slid. Why did he slid? Because there's something leaked that he had heart issues. And he denied that he had heart issues, but he was eventually cleared by the doctors. But teams were so worried about it that they end up passing on him anyway. So that's enough to scare you. You hear at the last minute, you got a guy who You got a guy who has heart issues. You just get a little nervous. This is a valuable pick. But Miami knew who they wanted in Liam Eichenberg. They knew so much that they actually used additional capital to move up and get him. They traded from number 50 and went down to number 42 just to grab him. Okay? Now, that says a lot. Now, let me tell you what I love about Liam Eichenberg, okay? First of all, the kid can play any position, and he's also been on record already telling the Miami media, I will play any position, including center, whatever the team wants me to play, because I can. Okay? Now, I know this is going to sound so shallow, but I just got to keep it 1,000 with y'all. In the last 2 years, he allowed no sacks. Sign him up. Give him a contract extension. Sign his kids. I don't care. Do whatever it takes. In the last 2 years, the kid ain't allowed a single sack. That's all I had to hear. Sign him up. Oh, man. Oh, man. Now, I'm just joking, but I do say that to say we need guys who can be reliable on this O-line and protect young Tua. I don't understand how people had a problem with bringing in protection for Tua because it wasn't the guy you wanted who reportedly had heart issues, whether it was true or not, and we weren't able to have enough time to verify. This was a good move. This kid is stout. Everybody thinks that he's a technical player, like he wins with his brain and his technique, and he's so good, hands, feet, and he's just a sound, good, flowing, moving player. But that ain't it, man. This kid, 33 reps bench press. He a little bit more than technical. He physical too. He can hold his own. He not going backwards. And let me tell you another beautiful thing about it. I think he's going to end up at the right tackle position, but the best 5 is going to play, and we just brought in another asset. And this kid, okay, I'm going to say it. He's going to start. Now, that's my assumption, but he's going to start. We might get to camp. Somebody shines over him. I don't know, but I think he's going to start. Period. And that's what you need. You're going to have Austin Jackson, Robert Hunt, Solomon Kinley, Liam Eichenberg, and our center from Baltimore. That's probably going to be our starting offensive line. And what we need to realize is that is a good offensive line, ladies and gentlemen. What you got to understand is you're not looking for a perfect offensive line because you'll be searching too hard and paying too much money. There's a reason why the Patriots sit there and literally have one of the best offensive lines every year and spend the least amount of money because they put a good unit together. Yes, Matt Skura, thank you. They put a good unit together. And I think we got enough pieces to make a good unit now, like a good unit, like legitimately a good unit. So all we looking for is a good unit because Tua has to be protected. He needs time to throw the ball. He needs time to settle in so the game can slow down and he can get back to feeling comfortable. He hasn't been comfortable since his injury. And now this is the opportunity for that to happen. I love the Liam Eichenberg pick. I love it. I know there were some players on the board people wanted at the time, but hey, I love this pick. This is an A1 pick here. And I'm not even going to stay on it. Eichenberg, TD. Hey, I appreciate it. I'm probably going to say Eichenberg about 10 more times, but I need you to correct me 10 more times, and I'll get it right. Eichenberg. Y'all know me with names. Listen, it's going to take making some big plays and balling out for me to even care to get it right. Y'all know how I am. All right, man. Let's move right along, man, because time is flowing. Number 81, Hunter Long. Now, this was the interesting one. Oh, boy, Hunter Long. Hunter Long, ladies and gentlemen. This is the interesting one. Y'all give me 1 second. Let me just open this door real quick. My bad, y'all. I had locked my wife out the door, but she good now. All right, man. Listen, Hunter Long. I'm about to make the case of why we drafted Hunter Long and why it was one of the greatest moves that we made in this draft. I like this move second best. Okay. Now, first of all, we all need to come to the conclusion that Mike Gesicki is not a traditional tight end. He is more like a supersized wide receiver, just like Kels and Waller. Mike Gesicki is not a traditional tight end. Now, I did some research today, and I need y'all to pay attention clearly to understand why we made this pick. Pay attention to what I'm telling y'all, and it's going to make sense. This was a low-key great move by the Miami Dolphins. Here we go. Mike Gesicki is not a traditional one. He is a supersized wide receiver. Durham Smith is the inline blocker for the Miami Dolphins. And Adam Shaheen is the backup for those two guys, or the guy who comes in on double tight end sets in a lot of cases, whether they run or throw. So let me give you an example. If they're throwing the ball and they want to run a double tight end set, they're going to go Gesicki and Shaheen. If they're running the ball and they want to go double tight end set, they're going to go Durham Smith and Shaheen. Now, ask me how I know that. And the problem that we also had on offense and why they were able to load the box at will, what teams scouted for, they already knew what we were running. 90% of the time, teams knew what we were going to run. And let me tell you, one player told them, if you're a smart coach and you scout the Miami Dolphins, we have a glaring tail on our offense that nobody's been talking about, but I discovered that today. Mike Gesicki told every team that we played what we were going to do when we were going to do it, whether it was going to be a run or a pass 90% of the time. Why you say that, TD? How could you come to that conclusion? Let me give you the data. Mike Gesicki only played 58% of the offensive snaps. Now, this is our premier tight end. When I look at Kels and all them playing 85% of the snaps and all of that crap, Mike Gesicki only played 58% of the offensive snaps. Durham Smith played 42% of the offensive snaps. So Mike Gesicki played 58. Durham Smith, whatever, played 42. Now watch this. Guess what percent of the time we threw the ball, y'all? Mike Gesicki played 58% of the offensive snaps. Guess what percent of the time we threw the ball? You can't make this stuff up. You can't make it up. We threw the ball 58% of the time. And obviously we ran the ball 42% of the time. 58, when I went and looked it up, I said, this is interesting. Mike Gesicki was only on the field 58% of the time. What kind of number one is that? Hold on. Let me go look at the percentage that we threw the ball. 58% of the time. And then I went and I looked. I said, man, the Dolphins ran a 12 personnel 34% of the time. No, we ran a 12 personnel 28% of the time. And if you don't know what a 12 personnel is, that's one running back, two tight ends, and two wide receivers. And Adam Shaheen was on the field 34% of the time. This is too much correlating. It is correlating too much. Everything is literally, and that's shame on the Miami Dolphins because that is a tell. That is a clear as day tell. Shame on the Miami Dolphins. Shame on the coaching staff. It's too obvious, ladies and gentlemen. We threw the ball 58% of the time. Mike Gesicki was on the field 58% of the time. We ran the ball 42. Durham Smith was on 42. We ran a 12-man personnel double tight end set 28% of the time. Adam Shaheen was on the field 34% of the time. That is too much of a tell. Too much. In other words, if Gesicki on the field, stay at bay. 9 times out of 10, it's a throw. Oh, but we got Gesicki in a double tight end set. We'll give 8 times out of 10 it's a throw. Still too high. It's still too high. Because if Gesicki's on the field and it's a run, they probably going opposite of his side. It's too much of a tail. You can scheme against that too easily. 13 personnel, which is 1 running back, 3 tight ends, we ran 3% of the time. And 22 personnel, which is 2 running backs and 2 tight ends, we ran 4% of the time. It's too telling, y'all. And Tua targeted a tight end 30% of the time. When he dropped back the pass, that is huge. 1 out of every 3 throws he threw to a tight end. But you know when they're going to throw the ball. And it's a 33% chance it's going to a tight end. That's bad, y'all. That's a huge part of why our offense was stagnant, because they kind of they could play the numbers game. Gesicki ain't on the field. This is a 80% chance, 90% chance run. Load the box. If we get beat, we get beat, but it's one-on-one and they got 50-50 guys anyway. So it don't matter. Man, when I did the research on this today, and guess how many times Gesicki lined up on the line of scrimmage in formation? Guess what percentage of the time Gesicki was lined up on the line of scrimmage? This is even more telling that he's not a traditional tight end. Usually a traditional tight end doing their damage in the passing game, steal from the line of scrimmage. They coming off the line of scrimmage. You don't know if they running or throwing. Only 19% of the time he was in line. That means 80% of Gesicki snaps, he was outside. It didn't even matter with the run. They were basically telling you he is an oversized receiver. He's not our traditional tight end. We're not even, basically, ladies and gentlemen, they're not even using him as a tight end. Basically, they're not even using him as a tight end. He is legitimately in the wide receiver depth chart, but they don't have him listed that way. 19% in line. That means 80% of the time you're in the slot or in a receiver position or tight end out. You're not the traditional tight end. You're not fooling anyone. That's what y'all need to understand. We're not fooling anyone with Gesicki. We don't have the element of like Travis Kelce sitting at the line. You don't know if he blocking or going out for a route. That's embarrassing. And it's just not good. It's just not good. And you sit here and wonder why they go invest in a Hunter Long in the third round. A kid out of BC who does it all. Now you can line him up as a traditional tight end and you're guessing. You don't know what's coming. You have no idea what's coming. You have no clue what's coming when you put Hunter Long on the field. At Boston College, Hunter Long lined up 72% in line, but yet caught more balls than any college player, including Kyle Pitts in college football. Had more receptions than Kyle Pitts in college football, but is in line on the line of scrimmage 72% of the time, catching balls. Come on, somebody. 21% in the slot, 6% as out wide like a receiver. That's what you call a traditional tight end. That's what you call a traditional tight end. We needed that element in this offense because with Gesicki, you can load the box. With Hunter Long, you in trouble. You better guess right. You better guess right. And you add Gesicki on the field with him, you better guess right. You better get it right. You go for that run and it's a pass, you are in trouble. Tua's life just got easier. You go for the pass, we got a blocker. We eating, we getting chunks. That's why we got Hunter Long. But nobody wants to break it down that way. They don't want to look at the deep, raw numbers of why we would go get another tight end when we already got Mike Gesicki. No, this is how you break it down. This is how you go get that information to make sense of it, because nobody can debate what I just said. Nobody can debate those numbers that I just gave you. They're all facts. This is the type of analysis you got to listen to understand why we make the decisions we make. Now you can look for Miami to run a whole lot more 12 personnel, 13 personnel, 22 personnel. And again, for all y'all who don't know football on that level, 12 personnel. This is how it works when people talk about personnel. The first number is running backs. The second number is tight ends. And whatever left over out of 5 is receivers. So 12 personnel. The 1 is for 1 running back. The 2 is for 2 tight ends. And there's only 2 more eligible receiver spots left for receivers. 13 personnel, 1 running back for 1, and 3 is for 3 tight ends. You know how we run the 2 tight ends on the side and 1 up there. You know, I pit 2 of being those funny looking formations sometimes. That'd be 13 personnel. 22 personnel, 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, and 1 receiver. So when they talk about personnel, because I know a lot of y'all don't understand when people be like, well, we run a 13 personnel, we ran a 22 personnel. That's what it means. All right. Hopefully that was some information if you didn't know that. All right. And it helps you with the football lingo when you hear these commentators. They're in a 13 personnel and, and all of that. And Tua's very effective out of the 12, 13, and 22 personnel. Anytime he has a double tight end set, or triple tight end set, he's very effective. He loves his tight end, and he threw 31% of his passes, more than Fitz. Fitz was 23% of his passes were the tight ends, 2 or 31. The team as a whole did 30% targets. All right. Now moving along because I'm running out of time. I only got like 9 minutes. Real quick. Pick number 231, offensive tackle Larnell Coleman. He's a very athletic kid, 5'1". 5.1 in the 40, 31-inch vertical. He played defensive end, and he converted into offensive tackle. He also played 4 years of basketball in high school, so he's very athletic. Now, this was a good move because he primarily plays left tackle. He hadn't really been worked out anywhere else. He's been left tackle his college career mainly. And what that does, though, Austin Jackson, we don't know what Austin Jackson's going to do after that injury. Hopefully he continues to rise, but just in case, this adds a little competition. He is a developmental player that needs to work on his mechanics, okay? And I'm sorry that I'm rushing right now, but I want to be able to finish in about 8 minutes, all right? So I like the move, bringing in more depth at the tackle position. Then he's going to have to fight for a roster spot, and if he doesn't make it, we still got him for practice squad because we got him under contract, all right? We got DJ with the donation saying, my man snapping today. I'm gonna hit you up soon, bro. That's what's up, man. Appreciate you, homie. All right. Now, Jared Dokes, number 244, the running back. I love this one. Let me tell you why I love this pick. He's a bruiser. See, they're telling y'all they're doing it by committee because Myles Gaskins, Malcolm Brown, Salvin Ahmed, those are finesse and speed guys. They brought in their bruiser, the guy who loves contact and loves running people over. And that's what Jared Dokes does, all right? Because right now, I believe Myles Gaskins, Malcolm Brown, and Salvin Ahmed would be our 3 core coming into the season. But now we're looking who's going to win that 4th running back spot. If they go 5, that's better for them. But just in case we keep it the same and go 4 running backs, is it going to be Patrick Laird, Malcolm Perry? Because now you got Jared Dokes in the mix. And who's going to fight for the last spot? I love the competition that they bring in. And this kid also can block. This is a fullback edge that he has to himself as well in the event that they want to go 2 running backs. So the 22 personnel, any of those, all right? So I love the pickup at the end of the draft, picking Jared Dokes because he's that guy who's going to bruise, and the other guys are change of pace. They want to, they're finesse. So I love the mix that tells you we're going by committee, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Now, last piece of information, the Miami Dolphins traded a 5th round pick for a 2022 4th round pick in the draft as well. I thought that was low-key genius. Just get a better asset for next year. You know, we got 7 players in this draft. Take that 5th. They didn't like anybody particularly there for the value. So they said, hey, we're going to turn a 5th into a 4th. You know, Pittsburgh called and they said, I can't turn that down. We basically just moved up the board for next year. 5th for a 4th. That's how it works. And that was a good move to produce more assets for next year. And that's where low-key asset you got to look as a potential opportunity in a deal. You don't know what kind of trades or whatever the Miami Dolphins will have under their sleeves, all right? Now, overall, I give the Miami Dolphins an A- in this draft. I believe they did a heck of a job. They address the weapons for Tua. No more question. They got Will Fuller and Waddle and Hunter Long. Tua should be just fine now. There shouldn't be any excuse. The run game should open up because of those weapons. Teams will actually have to respect us now, their secondaries. Also, the Jaelan Phillips, he provides edge that we do need. We can't just live off of pressures. We need to get to the quarterback and be able to stop the run. That's another thing. Jaelan Phillips is just so good at that. All right. The safety position with Javon Holland, big upgrade for the future. This was a big upgrade for the future because we all know those guys' clocks are gone after a while. Eric Rowe and Bobby McCain. Hunter Long, we already discussed his value in detail. And go argue with people about that and give them the stats that I gave you. It ain't no question. Then Larnell Coleman, offensive tackle, competition, potential depth, like the move, and Jared Dokes brings a whole nother style to the game outside of what the other guys bring. Now, our guy Malcolm Brown brings a little bit of it, but now you got another guy who could bring it as well, all right, who's younger. And I give it an A-. We helped this team overall. Now, when you look at the team, you're like, all right, what holes do we have now? Ladies and gentlemen, outside of people feeling like running back, what other holes do we have now? What other holes do we have now? Put it in the comment section. Like glaring holes with no depth. Like, tell me, what holes does this roster have now? I forgot about Liam Eichenberg. You're right. Liam Eichenberg, the second best pick in this draft for me. Day one starter, protecting Tua, no excuse. Everybody's saying linebacker. What problems do we have at the linebacker? Again, we don't need a 10 out of 10. Jerome Baker is good enough. Especially if he puts it. Benardrick McKinney alone is going to make Jerome Baker better this year. The edge rushers alone is going to make Benardrick McKinney better this year. Bringing in Phillips. Quarterback, we'll see. Tua has no excuse. This is his year. It's his time to shine, and we want to see him shine. I'm all for Tua. We need him to shine. We gave him the team that he needs now. Ladies and gentlemen, we ready for war. And I'm going to be doing a video on that in the next few days. Let me see. The title to that video is, well, I got the undrafted free agents coming up, and then I got the depth chart coming up. And when we go over the depth chart, we're going to really evaluate, do we have any holes, and we're going to come up with the top 55 players that's going to make the roster. Probably 53, but I'm saying 55 just in case the league changes it. We ready for war, y'all. The Miami Dolphins have arrived. We've done a beautiful job, man. Congratulations, Chris Greer, Brian Flores. Now we need to put it on the field and get it to work. Now we got to get these guys to work, put it on the field, and make that game this year, man. We did a great job, y'all. Don't let these naysayers say otherwise. We did a great job this year, y'all. We really did. We made this team better in so many different ways. That's all people need to know. We made the team better. 10-6 team last year. We just got better. Okay? Somebody said nose tackle. One of our undrafted free agents is a nose tackle. But we'll see. But that is a viable one, nose tackle. But outside of that, man, and we got assets for the future. And I'm going to do a video on the salary cap soon. We can have 70 million next year. And I'm going to break it down. With all these players already under contract, like legit, we can have 70 million next year, y'all. Man, that and more coming up. TDPHINSTALK, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Share the video. Let your friends and family members know about it as well. This TDPHINSTALK, y'all. I am out. I will see y'all tonight on Richie's channel, okay? The Jets channel, 24/7, Jets Central. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe so you'll see us tonight on the AFC East Roundtable. 4 teams talking about our draft. I'm going to get them to admit that we won this draft hands down. I'm going to get them to admit it that we won the draft hands down. Y'all better show up tonight, 9:30 on Richie's channel. I'll try to post the link on my YouTube community tab about 5 minutes before. This TDPHINSTALK, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Fins up. The future is bright. It's our time. Nobody else's. Peace.